He's America's most beloved athlete and its most prolific pitchman.
Are you surprised at all this? That the kid from North Carolina, pretty good basketball player, has developed, become this empire?
I'm very surprised. I'm very happy that I was the chosen one, too.
So what does Michael Jordan choose to do next? When Primetime continues.
Hello. We are on Chicago, where the Bulls are going after their 6th championship. And if eyes are on the Bulls, it means eyes are on the phenomenon at the heart of that team, of course, Michael Jordan. But it's not just the game that occupies Michael Jordan's attention these days. It seems he is preparing himself for his life after basketball as well. Here's our chief correspondent, Chris Wallace.
Diane, we've interviewed Michael Jordan several times over the past 2 years, but this time was different. Because these days, Jordan seems to be focusing as much on business as basketball. He's just made a deal with Nike to put out his own line of sportswear, with him as the boss. Jordan says he intends to be #1, not only on the court, but in the corner office.
Michael Jordan is CEO Jordan.
Leave it to Nike to turn the latest chapter in the Michael Jordan saga into a 1940s-style production. The mild-mannered sports star changing into a titan of industry.
Approved. Proceed. Authorized. Denied.
Jordan's transition was there for all to see this weekend in Chicago.
World champion, Chicago Bulls!
Saturday night, he was back on the court for the first home game of the season, starting his run for a 6th championship.
If you're here for the Jordan shoe...
But Saturday morning, across town, people lined up for the start of another Jordan venture, the debut of a new line of sportswear that carries his own brand name.
There's been a lot of talk that you're preparing for life after basketball.
Sure. I think that's a correct way of looking at it. I think it is a life after basketball. And if I don't start to prepare, then certainly, when the time happens, I'm not going to be prepared.
Jordan has been headed in this direction for years. A sports star with a winning personality corporations want to be associated with. There have been shoe contracts and cologne deals, even movies.
Guys, let's just go out and have fun.
And countless product endorsements. According to reports, that's more than $70 million this year off the court, added to the $34 million more he will make for playing this one season. But Jordan insists he doesn't know how much he makes.
I've seen estimates that are out there, some business magazines, $100 million this year.
Those are estimates. If I don't know, you think they know?
Do you think it's more, less?
I don't know. Let's just say I'm happy.
How happy?
I'm smiling.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Jordan's brand new line of clothing, Brand Jordan.
Jordan's smile just got bigger because his latest deal is the most impressive yet. He's now the unofficial CEO of his own sportswear line, backed by the corporate giant Nike. And he's entering the boardroom with the same competitive drive he displays on the basketball court.
Can you get the same joy beating Reebok in shoes that you get beating the Knicks or the Sonics?
Not quite the same, but it can maintain me and my competitive juices, I'm pretty sure.
The Jordan brand is expected in its first year to generate more than $250 million in sales. The deal cost Jordan nothing, and there are reports that his take could exceed 10% of the profits and millions more in Nike stock.
Thank you.
But Jordan wants to get even bigger.
We will love, at some point in time, as the line grows and prove to be successful, separate ourselves from Nike and become more of an entity of its own.
All great athletes are great competitors. And I think all great businessmen are great competitors.
Mark McCormack, president of International Management Group, is often called the inventor of sports marketing. His clients range from Arnold Palmer to Tiger Woods. While there are some things superstars can take from sports to business, he says, even they have to know what they don't know.
If you're used to doing all things your own way, sometimes it gets a little difficult to turn all the reins over to somebody. But he's in a new field here, and he's got to learn how to let go and learn again.
He has to do something after basketball. That's not going to last forever, and we know he's not going to be able to play golf or baseball in his next career.
Jerry Reinsdorf can tease Jordan because he is Jordan's boss. After sitting across the table during tough negotiations, the chairman of the Bulls says he will do just fine in business.
Michael's a type A But I think that he will be able to make the transition. He's always looking for challenges. Business is going to be a challenge.
As for Jordan, he seems ready to take on corporate controversy the same way he faces a tough defense, with total confidence.
He is accused of killing a young man for his basketball shoes.
Issue 1, Air Jordans, which even at $150 a pair are some of the best-selling shoes ever made. In the past, young criminals have beaten or shot other children to get them.
How are you going to stop kids from fighting over and even killing each other for these shoes?
It doesn't start with personality. I think it starts with the parents to teach these kids not to value materialistic things over life.
All the same, Jordan has taken steps to try to stop it. His new line will include less expensive shoes, priced at $90. And they will de-emphasize the red and black colors so appealing to street gangs. But Jordan doesn't have much patience for this.
I get the feeling you're a little fed up with people saying, you know, it's your shoes that's getting people killed.
No, I'm not. I think that's a cop-out. I think that's the easy way to look at it instead of looking in a mirror and saying, well, what is my kids doing?
Jordan has also had to deal with charges that some Nike products are made in Indonesian sweatshops by children paid 14 cents an hour, charges Nike denies.
I couldn't voice an opinion until I found out exactly what was happening and how that affected me.
Jordan now says he backs Nike, citing recent studies that show workers are paid fair wages.
Michael's very picky, so we try to accommodate as much as we can.
At Nike headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon, where Jordan's name and face are all over the place, the design team works closely with Jordan on the look and construction of the shoes. Creative director Tinker Hatfield remembers one time when he didn't take Jordan's advice, and sales were disappointing.
He basically came back to me and said, see, you put that tip on that shoe, and I want you to take it off. So in the middle of production, after several 100,000 pairs of shoes had been made, we changed the design, took the tip off.
Sales?
Sales went up. I totally believe in it. I wear the product. I wear the same shoe that you pick up from the store.
Okay. A few weeks ago in Los Angeles, Jordan showed us how good a pitchman he is when he spent the day promoting another product, his Michael Jordan cologne.
Go? Yes. Beautiful.
There were a lot of jokes at first that it must smell like sweat, but it's now one of the top-selling colognes in America, with yearly sales past the $100 million mark. Jordan worked with the designer Bijan to select the fragrance, and he gets paid a lot to promote it. Sources tell us for appearances like this one on The Tonight Show, Bijan pays him $250,000 an hour. Here, to sell his new line of soap and bath oil.
Maintains the moisture of your skin.
Maintains the moisture of your skin? How moist. You know, you are really moist.
Jordan seemed a little uncomfortable with all the kidding, but afterward he thought he had scored big.
What is an appearance like that worth? I mean, do you have any way to measure?
In terms of dollars?
Yeah. In terms of sales?
I would say in terms of advertising, that's almost like 3 commercials to some degree. You know, and that can value anywhere between $2.5 million.
Those few minutes while he's making fun of your moist body.
Certainly.
2.5 million.
Easy.
But all of it depends on Jordan. Corporations love him because they know the public loves him.
Why do you think people want to be like Michael Jordan?
I don't know.
Oh, sure you do.
No, I don't. Can you tell me? I don't know. This thing's happened so rapidly and so fast that I couldn't give you a reason or ingredient why what's happened to me over the last 14, 15 years.
But as Jordan prepares for life after basketball, there's still some basketball left to play. And as he begins his run for yet another championship, one of the big questions is whether all the empire building off the court will somehow distract him, will somehow cut into his single-minded intensity on the court.
And the second half is about to begin.
Nike has some fun with his business basketball balancing act in its latest Jordan commercial.
MJ, those new Air Jordans?
As Jordan becomes more involved in business, do you worry at all that it will get in the way of basketball?
Knowing Michael, I don't think that he'll ever get his priorities screwed up. And his number one priority is to get another championship ring. Magic Johnson has 5. Michael, I know, wants to get 6 just to get one more than Magic.
Once I step on the basketball court, the last thing I'm thinking about is what I'm doing away from the game of basketball. You know, I think about what my job is, what's my responsibilities when I'm on the basketball court.
But the biggest question now is how much time is left in the Jordan era? How long before he puts on his wingtips for good?
Is this your last year?
I hope not. I hope I can play a couple more years. But once the season's over, I have to take more of a closer look at what the opportunities are, where the team is headed, what my decision is going to be at that time.
As the season starts, the Bulls are in some trouble. Sidekick Scottie Pippen is sidelined for 2 or 3 months after foot surgery. And Dennis Rodman says he almost retired before coming back for one more season.
Aren't you guys getting, forgive me, a little old?
You know what they say about old people? They get wiser. They don't get old, they get wiser.
Does that work on the basketball court?
Yeah, you know how to overcome the disadvantages physically just by knowing how to play the game mentally. I think that's one of our strong points.
And there's one more part to this soap opera. Jordan says he won't play without Coach Phil Jackson. But management says this is Jackson's last year.
You know, at the end of the year, Michael will have to make that decision.
If Jordan says he won't come back without Jackson, and you guys say Jackson's going to go,
we'll deal with that when the time comes.
Whether he plays 1 more year, or 2 or 3, the Jordan era is nearing its end. Which brings us back to business. Almost 70% of basketball shoes are bought by kids under 17. Will they stand in line for the Jordan brand when he's some old retired guy? Mark McCormack says the key is to sell Jordan's charisma, not his scoring and rebounds.
You got to market Michael Jordan as a great personality, a great role model, a great person for kids to look up to, not as someone who just won the playoff for the Chicago Bulls.
But as Jordan heads down the road towards the rest of his life, he says he's thinking about something else.
My ultimate dream as a person is to have a pot belly when I'm about 35 years old. For years, I've been conscious about staying in shape. And I always wanted to know, feel like some of the guys who sit back and watch me play with the pot belly and, good living, looking right dead at them. So I look forward to having that one day.
Well, I think you can pull that off.
I hope so.
Jordan's pot belly may have to wait for a while. His Bulls split their first 2 games over the weekend and seem headed for a tough season. But the business side is going better. Jordan just signed another deal to endorse AMF Bowling, which agreed to buy Jordan's golf company.